There you go.
Hello, guys. This is Gavyn here and Alex from the Growing Younger team. Gavyn is the personal trainer and I'm the physio. Some of you. Sorry about the little technical issues here. But yes, welcome to this webinar. Well done on coming and taking some time and coming and listening to what we have to say. The title of the webinar is How to Feel 9 Years Younger, Get Full of Energy and Vitality by Following These 3 Simple Steps. And PS, no black magic or drugs involved. Now, why we say no drugs involved is because recently there have been a lot of magic potions on the market, pills that you can take, and they sort of offer you all sorts of solutions. Now, we don't do that. We do things the natural way. So yeah, and energy is one of those things, that one of those topics that keeps coming up, especially with people over 40. So people complain that they run out of energy by sort of mid-afternoon, or they wake up feeling tired. So we decided to give you some really eye-opening, interesting information. A lot of it is based on the latest medical research. So basically, we're trying to give you a few different tips on how to feel more re-energized and I guess get things done easier in your life.
Yeah, done. We get stuck into it.
So who will benefit from this webinar tonight? Now, obviously if you're over 40, because people over 40 are definitely more susceptible to feeling tired and fatigued. If you're suffering from a lack of energy and simply want to feel more energized, okay? If you want to be that young and fit person that all friends envy, we also help you with that as well. If you actually tried to lose weight in the past and you failed, or maybe you lost weight for a little while and then you regained it back. So some of the information we're going to share with you today will also help you as well. Now, if you have some lifestyle or chronic illnesses, such as diabetes, fibromyalgia, anemia, some of these conditions can actually cause excessive fatigue. So if you have one of these conditions, it may also be a good idea for you to watch us and hear what we have to say. Now, also, if you're sort of maybe possibly in your 40s or 50s and you're worried about getting older and staying strong and functional as you get older, so we're going to help you to implement some things that will help you to stay strong and functional well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. And also, it will be quite good for you if you've experienced a bit of fear spending the last 20 years of your life in a care facility, relying on stranger people for basic day-to-day things. So if you don't want to end up in that situation, probably a good idea to watch this webinar. And here is a little bit of information about us.
So this is me basically. So you're probably gonna ask why we qualified to even talk about this in the first place. Well, Alex being a physio, me being a personal trainer, we've had the pleasure of working with lots of people over the years. And for me, when we're talking about rehabilitation size, weight loss, and that sort of thing, I've actually been through the whole lot. So if you can see the top right hand corner, that's actually my knee there. I had a really bad joints, not a lot, if any, cartilage left in my knees anymore. And this was the last operation I had, where they put an extra piece of bone in to offset the loading of my knee because it was so badly worn away. I'm a registered personal trainer, which means I'm registered under the Governing Body of Personal Trainers in New Zealand. That bottom photograph is me. I'm currently about 20 or 15 kilos lighter than I used to be. I had a weight problem well into my early 30s and managed to find a real solution to keep my weight off long term. I'm a nutrition coach certified by Precision Nutrition, qualified at AUT, black belt in Aikido, and I train lots and lots of people online on the internet. That's me.
And so a little bit about me, Alex. So I'm a fully qualified and registered physiotherapist in New Zealand. I graduated from AUT in 2004, so I've worked ever since then in private practice. I've also done a postgraduate diploma in sports medicine at the University of Otago. And back about 8 years ago, I've started this practice, Body Fit Physiotherapy Group, and in Howick. And my main focus when I started, my main sort of dream was to actually cater for those people who are over 40 and who exercise to keep fit, but sort of hurt themselves in the process. Unfortunately, that happens. And yeah, so my main focus point was on helping people over 40 just stay fit and healthy. And we've probably seen over the 8 years, we've seen at least about 4,000 people in my practice.
All right, so first thing we're getting to is what is aging. Okay, you probably know what aging is, you know, in your belly. You know that it's just a thing of getting older, but what you don't realize is just that aging happens on a cellular level. Okay, our cells get older as we age, but it basically takes place as a result of changing our genetic makeup, and our muscles get weaker, our joints, you know, get more frail, our bones, if you don't exercise, become a little bit weaker, and we're subject to osteoporosis, things like that, and we become more vulnerable to diseases. So what happens is, okay, there's two things at play. You got your genetics, which you can't do an awful lot about really, and then you've got your lifestyle, environmental factors, which you can do an awful lot about. And what kind of happens is that, you know, if we don't lead a healthy lifestyle with exercise, nutrition, sleep, all that sort of thing, our body ages a lot faster than it should do. So potentially I could be, I'm nearly 40 years old now, and if I didn't look after myself, I could be 50 or 60, my body could be 60 years old. So there's a big disconnect between your calendar age and your biological age. And the good news is that the latest scientific research from the Salk Institute of Biological Studies in California proves that it's actually possible to sort of reverse the effects of aging. That doesn't mean you'll live forever, but it certainly means that your body will become younger if you do some of these things we're going to talk about today. So you probably notice it yourself. You see some people, you know, your age get slower, they become more frail, they get visibly older. And even now, looking at people on Facebook I haven't seen for a long time, they look a lot older than what they should do because they don't exercise, they don't look after themselves. And that's only the 40 age demographic. But some people seem to stay the same. They look like, you know, there's a bit of a magic spell going on. They look a lot younger. And you probably ask yourself why that is.
So basically what we're trying to say here is that aging is not a sort of a set, predictable process. Okay, so the number in your passport is not your biological age. So, you know, it doesn't matter how old you are. You might be 45, 55, 60. Your true biological age could be quite different. And so biological age essentially is the state of your inner health. Okay, so for example, you might have someone, two people, they might be 60 years old, both of them, okay? But one has been very healthy their whole entire life. They've been eating well, they've been exercising, they've been looking after themselves. So their biological age could be something like 45, okay? So significantly lower. Whereas another person who smokes, drinks, and sits in front of TV the whole day, their biological age could be like 70, okay? So we've tested quite a few people here when we do our Growing Younger program, and we see a big variation among some people. So the biological age could be either significantly lower or significantly higher than what their passport age is. So yeah, so those two things are quite different. So if you're not doing the right things for your body right now, you could actually be aging at a much faster pace than you should be. So that should be quite worrying. And the consequences could be quite serious. So you can see here, this is the prevalence of hip fractures among people over 65. And you can see that, so the prevalence of, or the likelihood of getting this very debilitating injury significantly increases as you get older. So people tend to become more frail, more prone to injury as they get older. And here's another piece of alarming statistic. Now, according to Statistics New Zealand 2013, almost half of all adults in New Zealand over the age of 65 were classified as physically disabled. So 49% of adults over 65 are physically disabled. So they carry at least one disability. Now, this is compared to only 7% for people under the age of 45. So basically the difference is 5-fold. So from going from under 45 to over 65, it increases your chances of becoming physically disabled 7 times. That is quite scary. And another piece of statistic for you here as well is that you're more likely to end up in a care home in New Zealand than any other Western country. So these are really 2 good reasons to try and do something about your health right now.
So what we should have said at the beginning was that you can actually take part in a little bit of an assessment. So you didn't come on the weekend. We did some assessments with people, and although we can't go through the whole biological testing today, we've got 3 little tests that you can do in your own time to kind of determine where you are in the realms of your biological age. So if you get a bit of paper, okay, you can write this down. The first test that we're going to do is called a wall squat, right? So what you need to do is, if you set yourself up on a wall like that photograph is at the bottom, and squat down, providing your knees allow you to do that, to about a 90-degree bend between your knees and your shins. And you should be able to hold that for a period of time. So as you can see on the left-hand side, you've got the rating, okay, and it ranges from excellent to very poor. Males and females are slightly different. So if you're a male and you can hold this squat for over 100 seconds, that's obviously very, very good. It's excellent. And then it obviously comes down. 75 to 100 seconds is good. 50 to 75 is average. Below average is 25 to 50, and very poor is less than 25. And females is 20 for very poor. Below average 20 to 35. Average 35 to 45. Good 45 to 60, and above 60 is good for females. So if you go and do that test, you got to do it now while you're watching, or you can do it afterwards. It doesn't really matter. But if you can do this test and time yourself, you'll have a really good idea of where you think you are. So when we relate this back, as Alex was saying about the leg fractures, this determines how strong your legs are. And if you haven't got strong legs, strong hips and glutes and anything else, you're more likely to fall over and have one of those really, really serious injuries, which we just talked about. So this is a really good indicator of where you are now. So you can make some improvements. So you're not going to be subject to these horrible injuries after a fall. So give it a go and see where you are. Write down a bit of paper.
So if you want to do it right now, most people have a stopwatch on their smartphone. So if you just go and look up on your smartphone, there should be an app for
Stopwatch.
For a stopwatch, yeah. So we'll give you about just over a minute.
Yeah, give you a minute.
Cool. Can anyone, if you have any difficulty, if you have any questions, you can just put your questions in the chat box.
Alright, so it'll be about a minute there. Hopefully you've had a bit of a go, and it's how did you score? Obviously you should have a good idea of where you are.
And if a minute wasn't enough, that's good news.
Yeah, exactly right.
Okay, let's get moving. So we're talking about some sad statistic. So is it all doom and gloom? Definitely not, and this is why. So Gavyn is going to cover some case studies, people he worked with.
Okay, so when we talk about the Growing Younger program, we've had quite a lot of people come through, and these are some just average normal people, just like yourselves, watching this, who decided that they needed to make a change in their life. And this is Graham, and he started working with me on the 1st of August 2015. And his real age at the time was 64 years old, as you can see, but his metabolic or biological age was 66. His body was 2 years older than his actual age. And when I go through training with these people, I have kind of performance indicators, and I pick a deadlift because it's a very, very good exercise, a very functional exercise. And if you know what a deadlift is, it basically means you lift things up from the floor safely without hurting your back, and using your legs and muscles to help you. So that's what we started off with. And his body weight was 79 kilograms, and his lean body mass, which is basically his muscle and his bones, anything else apart from fat, was 68.2. So after about just over a year and a bit, he had a birthday, so he became 65, but his metabolic age decreased by 16 years or 15 years all up, as you can see. So he actually, through good nutrition and exercise, his metabolic age came all the way back down to 50. So, you know, he's a lot younger in his body than he was when he first came in, which is pretty incredible. And his deadlift max went up 20 kilograms. So that's an awful lot of weight. If you're not sure how much 20 kilos is, it's actually a lot of weight. His body weight, as you can see, actually increased by about, what's that, 3 kilos or something. But you know, weight isn't always a good sort of indicator of success. He actually put on a couple of kilos of lean body mass, which is muscle. And when we're talking about body weight and body composition, that's what you need to look at. It's about your fat to muscle ratio. And that's really, really important as you get older to help with metabolism. So what's interesting about Graham is that he had a few things going wrong. He just had a shoulder reconstruction, which obviously is a big old injury and a big deal if you've never had it. He's quite new to exercise, and you know, he made some really good improvements over body composition and strength. And just goes to show that even with these little injuries and everything else, you can still make massive improvements. So the next one is going to be Mike. Okay, he's trained me for quite a long time, but these are his results in a short space of time. His real age is 58 years old. His metabolic age is 61, and he couldn't really do much of a deadlift at all. He didn't have the good strength to do it. He had a body weight of 95.5 kilos and lean body mass of 69. So a couple of months later, we did a retesting, and he had a birthday as well. And his metabolic age had reduced by 2 years to match his actual calendar age. So he obviously again reduced his biological age. He's now at the same age he should be. His deadlift max again increased quite significantly as well. His body weight decreased by 5.5 kilos, and his lean body mass pretty much stayed the same, which was really fantastic. And he again suffered some quite big things as well. He had arthritic knees, he was overweight, and he was needing to exercise. It goes to show that even with a good program and a good way of doing things, you can really make some positive differences. And the next one, we got Robin. She trained with me for quite a long time, 4 or 5 years all up. And she was 60 when she first came to see me, but she had a metabolic age of 69. She couldn't even do a deadlift when she first came to see me. And the other body weight and lean mass, we didn't actually measure that at the time. And then fast forward a few years' time, she had 5 birthdays, and her metabolic age decreased significantly as well. So she was now 2 years younger than she was, the actual real age. And her deadlift max increased to 45 kilos, which is even bigger than the other guys. So she got very, very strong in a relatively short space of time. And you can imagine that extra strength and her ability to be able to move things around was huge for her. And she become younger. There's no doubt about it. The numbers speak for themselves. And she had some problems as well. She suffered with arthritis in her knees, her wrists, fingers, and toes. It was very difficult to grip things and bend, but she still overcame it. And she had something called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which comes when you're overweight. She never exercised at all before, apart from walking a dog. And she eventually joined the gym, which is pretty incredible for somebody of that age to do that. Just goes to show, guys, that you can actually reverse the reverse the aging quite significantly. So you're gonna wonder what led us to this seminar, and the reason why we came to this seminar. Go back a slide, shall we? Was just literally, Alex and I have worked with so many people over the years, and we basically know that you could all make really good positive changes. And we wanted to give you some information to help you do that, because with all the misinformation out there right now, it's been very hard to know what's right and what isn't. Personally, for me on a personal level, I've seen my family suffer with these kinds of things. My granddad, for the last years of his life, didn't actually get out of a chair because he couldn't. No one really was there to support him and help him with getting stronger and all that sort of thing. And it's quite impactful. So we obviously here to try and make a bit of a change just to help you guys to, you do really well and live a happy, kind of more functional, longer life, really.
And what also kind of motivates me as well is that in my physiotherapy practice, I actually see people, a lot of people over 40, particularly over 50, and I see a huge discrepancy. Like I see, as I said before, like a couple of people who might be the same age in terms their calendar age, but one person who is 50 might be almost in a wheelchair, like in a really bad state. They're struggling to climb a flight of stairs. whereas another person who is 50 is running marathons and just really enjoying life to 100%. So I always ask myself, what is the difference? Why these two people are pretty much the same age, but they are functionally, in terms of health and just the way they feel themselves, is so much different? And can this be changed? Can you actually do something now so you end up like this 50-year-old person that's running marathons and feel great for years to come? So this is what makes us so passionate about this, and and that's why we're here tonight. Another couple of things that inspired us. So we've done a lot of research as part of our Growing Younger program and as part of this particular webinar as well. And what we actually stumbled upon is a couple of people that have done some amazing things at very advanced age. So for example, this first person, his name is Yuichiro Miura. He's Japanese. Now he's quite well known for the fact that he's the oldest person to climb Mount Everest. Now Mount Everest is obviously you probably know that it's the highest mountain in the world and almost 9 kilometers above sea level. And most young people wouldn't even think about climbing it because it's so dangerous, it's so difficult, it requires years of training, years of practice. And in fact, 1 in 10 people, so for every 10 successful climbs, 1 person dies. So you have your chances of making it back alive 90%, so 10% of dying. Anyway, so this person has done it at the age of 80, which is, I mean, it's hard to believe. Okay, so it just shows that just because your age is old doesn't mean you have to feel old. Okay, you can still feel, you can still be healthy and fit and young, and your body could still be very functional. Another person that we are definitely inspired by is this person, Fauja Singh. He was born in India, but he moved to London, and he is known to be the oldest person to run a marathon. Okay, so he ran a Mumbai marathon in 2016 at the age of, you try to guess, I'm sure you won't guess this one, 104. Okay, so he actually ran a marathon at the age of 104. So most people think that 80, 90 is already almost end of life and you should pretty much stay in bed the whole time. Well, this is not so. Okay, this person is running a marathon at the age of 104. So pretty amazing stuff. So here is our main section of tonight's webinar. This is where we're going to uncover the 3 simple steps of how you can feel 9 years younger, get full of energy and vitality. All right, so let's move on. So the 3 things are nutrition, and we're going to go into a lot of detail into what types of nutrition will actually give you a healthier and younger body and give you more energy and make you feel better in the morning. The second thing we're going to cover is maintaining muscle strength and flexibility, which is also important to become biologically younger. And the third but not least, we're going to talk about the importance of sleep and how to get quality sleep.
All right, so nutrition, always a big part, okay, and it's a lot of misinformation around it, and we're trying to sort of dispel some of that stuff for you. So our nutrition is essentially broken up into a few categories. You got your proteins, which you've probably heard of, and you see lots of protein shakes around. And well, protein is essentially the building blocks of our life. Everything in our body needs protein to sort of build. So as your hair, your skin, your nails, even things like your collagen in your skin, all those things need protein to do it. Okay, so if you've got a really low protein diet, you're not going to get the building blocks that your body needs. Protein also is essential to give you some energy, and it helps you to feel full. So if you're got a diet with the right amount of protein in it, you're going to feel less hungry than if it was all carbs. Carbohydrates are super important as well. Contrary to what you may believe, carbohydrates are our body's preferred source of energy, which means that we prefer to take in carbohydrates to process for our brain to function, our bodies to exercise, everything, and we need carbs, and it's good for energy. Then just with that as well, if you're eating the right carbs, like complex carbs, whole grains, nuts, legumes, all those sorts of beans, all those sorts of things, they've got lots of fiber in them as well. They help keep you fuller. They help stabilize your blood sugar, and it's really good for your digestive health as well. and they're really, really important in the diet. So if you cut out carbs, you're going to cut out a lot of good nutrients. Then you've got fat. Very, very important is, as you know, back in the day, there was the low-fat diet was the way to go. So actually, fat's so important for our diet. It helps keep us full, gives us energy, and it helps with vitamin absorption, certainly around vitamin D, E, K, and A. If we don't have fat in our body, we can't process those vitamins. Therefore, we become deficient in those protein, in those vitamins. Then you go down to vitamins and minerals, and we need those in our diet just for normal physiological function. So we're going to click on that link in a second. Oops, go back a little bit on what does good nutrition look like. But I'm going to quickly give you a really quick overview of how to do it. And if you did this, you'd never need another diet ever again. So basically goes by portion size and using your hand, because your hand is portable, it's unique to you, and there's not much can go wrong with it. So if you look at this, if you can zoom in a little bit so you can see it, you got, you divide up your macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fats by the size of your hand. So as you can see, this for me would be a size of protein. You've got this sort of thickness as well, and about this sort of size. That could be chicken, fish, beef. Nothing from the deli. Deli meat isn't so great for you, but lean, natural sources of protein. If you're going to eat some vegetables, then you'd be wanting to eat a fistful of vegetables on your plate. That's the size you want to have. Then you're serving of carbohydrates. So as I said, carbohydrates are not bad for you, but they kind of do need to be limited. So if you were to cup your hand this way, whatever was in the hand would be a carbohydrate source. And then you're looking at fats again. Fats are really important. And you're looking at your thumb. You're looking at peanut butter, oil, about this sort of size. Okay, and you can take it anyway. You can do whatever you like. So as we scroll down, obviously males and females are slightly a bit differently. But you can build your own plate, and you can come up with thousands and thousands of different ideas just based on the different ingredients. So if you're a man, you're going to build your plate. You're going to use protein. So if you're a man, you'd be wanting two pieces of protein. So so a large chicken breast, for argument's sake. If you're a woman, it's going to be one, and they account to 40 to 60 grams of protein per serving for men and 20 to 30 for females. Then you're going to get some vegetables, and you're going to get, if you're a man, you're going to have 2 fist sizes. If you're a female, it's going to be 1. And that's going to be things like broccoli, spinach, salad, carrots. You know what vegetables are, and that's what are you going to come to the next one. Then we're going to move down to carbohydrates, and again you're looking at, as I said, complex carbohydrates like grains, starches, beans, even fruit. So for argument's sake, you could have maybe sorry, a nice chicken salad, for argument's sake, and then have a piece of fruit afterwards. That would be your carbohydrate source. So don't think it needs to always be pasta and things. And then again, you're looking at your fats, and they look, as I just said, the oils, butters, nuts and seeds. They're really important as well. Now, you can absolutely customize that for yourself. Okay, this is a really good start, and appreciate that. You could be different for every person. So, but as you scroll down a little bit, you can self-adjust with this way of eating, because you can, if you find that you're a little bit bigger, you might need a bit more protein, a bit more food, and that's for you to just add extra food in. If you eat less food because it's smaller, or you're feeling too full at meals, you can take some food out, and it's all good. But equally, you can adjust this, and even if you're trying to lose weight, and if for argument's sake you decide that you're going to go through this approach and you don't lose any weight in the first week, and then all you do is you remove 1 portion of carbohydrates out for 1 meal a day. You're putting a calorie deficit of about 200 calories. And hopefully that should kickstart your weight loss. And that's a really, really good way to have a really good, solid, balanced diet.
Can we give this out as a handout?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we send that out.
So if you want to receive a copy of this handout about the portion control, so if you just pop your name and your email into the chat box if you're watching it via Zoom. If you are watching it on YouTube, just put your name and email in the comment section below the video, and we'll send you this handout as soon as we finish this webinar. All right. Okay.
Okay, next slide. So then we got foods that kind of accelerate aging. Okay, and these are foods that you should really, really avoid at all costs. So you probably heard that too much sugar is bad for you, and it absolutely is. And the reason being is that too much sugar in your diet, obviously you can rot the teeth and all that sort of thing, but it boosts inflammation in your diet. Okay, boost body inflammation, so you tend to get sore joints and everything else because your body's inflamed. You can promote wrinkles because it damages the collagen in your skin, and all collagen is a protein that makes your skin nice and plump. So if you've got lots of lines and that sort of gaunt look, it's just because there's not much collagen in your skin anymore. Too much sugar can lead to poor heart health and decrease the length of your life, essentially. Then you've got salt. Too much salt is really bad for you as well. It increases your blood pressure simply because when you take too much salt in your body tries to combat the saltiness, if you like, in the blood. It draws in lots of fluid into your blood to try and dilute the salt in there, but causes your heart to work a little bit extra, causes the blood to pump harder with more force through the veins, increasing your blood pressure. And that, prolonged over time, will give you risk of strokes and heart failure and osteoporosis, stomach cancer, kidney disease. It's really important to monitor your salt. Then you got your red meats. Now, as I said, protein is really important, but what's interesting about this is that a study done in 2012 found that red meat and full-fat dairy products over time, in excess essentially, can cause the brain to age a lot more quickly than other kinds of fat. So that might be something you want to look at as well before you start eating your steaks all day. Then you're looking at refined carbohydrates, and you know what they are. They're your biscuits, your sweets, your sodas, all those sorts of things. And they're full of things called trans fats and very, very high in calories. And a trans fat is just a fat that's been pumped with hydrogen to make it solid at room temperature. And it's basically made in a lab. It's not natural. And these foods can cause like inflammation in your body again, which is then linked to aging down the track. And you're going to feel there's a lot of nutrients in these foods either. Very, very high in calories, and really make you put lots of weight on. Then again, we're looking at alcohol. And you probably know to limit your alcohol levels, and it stresses the liver, internal organs, and again it can promote loss of collagen. And you may even see people right now who drink too much alcohol, and they got that red nose. They look a lot older than they should do. And it's because it has a really, really bad effect on your body. It's essentially a poison, and it leads to dehydration as well, which also makes you feel lethargic and tired and all those other things as well. So when we look at our foods that prevent aging, you already know what this stuff is, but it's essentially, you need to have lots of fresh fruit and vegetables in your diet. And this little picture there summarizes just some of the foods that you should be eating on a regular basis. And the avocados, the blueberries, the pomegranates and lemons, ginger helps with inflammation, spinach, tomatoes, hemp seeds, garlic, water, coconut, turmeric, and green vegetables. You know what that is. So when you're building your plate of nutrition, make sure you go a very, very varied amount of vegetables and fruits. And the next thing we're looking at is the ketogenic diet. If we just move all the cameras out of the way just a little bit. So that was one of the things that we're going to talk about. And the ketogenic diet is extremely popular, and people think it's a magic solution to weight loss. Now, it does help you lose a bit of weight, but you got to be careful that the weight that you're losing isn't necessarily body fat. It's basically a lot of fluid as well. And what a ketogenic diet does, it just puts you in a calorie deficit, because that's all it is. And if you think about it, if you were to eat a balanced meal like I just spoke about, but took out all the carbs and everything else, you're going to be in a calorie deficit of a couple hundred calories, which means you're going to lose weight. And not only that, is that with carbohydrates, for every gram of carbohydrate that our body takes in, it needs 2 grams, I think it is, to metabolize it. So you take in a lot of fluid as well, which isn't a bad thing. So if you look at these little charts here, the PN mixed meal is the meals that we just showed you just now on that infographic. Then you have the paleo meal, low carb, and the ketogenic diet at the bottom is the one we're talking about, because it's very, very low in protein, very, very low in carbs, and it's essentially 75% fat, which again is very, very difficult to stick to. I mean, if you ever go to a coffee shop or go for dinner with your friends, if you try and stick to that kind of meal plan, you're going to find yourself, pretty lonely and very, very difficult to stick to.
I suppose if you're an athlete and you're trying to maybe strengthen or grow some muscle, having only 20% protein is probably not going to give you enough protein to sustain muscle growth.
Exactly right. So we've got a little list of pros and cons right here. Okay, so the pros, fast weight loss, absolutely, there's no doubt about it. You do. like I said, it is weight, not body fat. It's a lot of a bit of everything, and with a low protein diet as well, essentially going to be losing muscle as well, which is never a good thing. However, it can help some with some medical benefits. And the whole way this ketogenic diet was brought about was to help with diabetes and epilepsy in children quite a few years ago. People have adopted it for a weight loss program. So some of the cons to it, okay, you get impaired concentration, low mood, and low energy. It basically means if you cut out all the carbohydrates from your body, your body will then try and replace that blood sugar with something called ketones. And ketones are produced by the liver when there's no sugar in your diet, and the ketones are only produced to help your brain function and give you energy, because now you're not giving your body the energy it needs, and it gives you something called like a brain fog. And a lot of people that do keto diets complain of being lethargic. They complain of not being able to concentrate. They're very grumpy very quickly, and they get low energy. Then look, and as Alex just mentioned us now, you don't get any muscle gaining properly. So as us at a Growing Younger program, we really advocate getting a little bit more muscle in your body to help your metabolism, help with function and strength, and being able to be strong enough to carry you into the later years, without any help. And obviously, this is a bad way to do it as well. Again, looking at nutrient deficiency, we already spoke about that. If you have no carbohydrates in your diet, then you're missing out on really essential nutrients like fiber, vitamins, and minerals. And that's never a good thing either. And then it also can lead to dehydration and constipation, which again is pretty unpleasant as well. Then, we're looking at osteoporosis, the high risk of bone fracture because you're not getting the right nutrients in your diet, and it's very, very hard socially and very, very hard to do long term.
All right, so now we're just going to talk about the importance of maintaining your a good muscle strength and flexibility. Now, this chart you're seeing in front of you, right in the middle of the page, is basically a representation of what happens to your muscle strength and muscle mass as you get older. So, right at the beginning, you're obviously seeing the increasing the line going up, and that's as you get old, as you mature. Your teenage years, you become stronger and stronger and stronger, and then at about the age of 25 to 30, you peak. Okay, so the maximum point right there. Where you see the first dashed line, that's about 25 to 30, okay? And then basically from that point on, your strength starts to decline. But there's a big difference between the two lines that go from there. So the line at the bottom is basically it represents people who don't exercise a lot. They're sedentary, they sit in front of TV the whole day, they don't do much physical exercise. And you can see their strength declines quite rapidly. Okay, actually quite scary, because at this horizontal line down the bottom, they actually cross what's called a sort of a disability threshold. So below that level, people will need help with the basic day-to-day activities. So they become physically disabled. We sort of touched on it at the beginning of the webinar. So this is where you become disabled. Now, you definitely don't want to get to that point. Now, the second line is the one that sort of looks a little bit flatter. It's the top line, okay? Now, that represents your muscle decline if you are active and if you're involved in quite a bit of exercise. You can see the muscle loss is a lot more mild, okay? So it's actually almost nothing compared to the bottom line. So this is where you want to be, okay? So as you get older, we're giving you some really good examples of people who can actually do a lot, and they can do amazing things even at the age of 60 and 70 and 80 and even beyond that. So basically what I'm trying to say here is that the importance of exercise cannot be underestimated or overestimated. So you must do some form of exercise to keep fit and healthy, especially as you get older.
Okay, so you probably hear about the middle-age spread a little bit, kind of taken for granted as we get older. And what's really interesting, the reason this comes about is because people or adults over 40, they lose 3 to 5% of muscle mass every single decade or every 10 years. And that's just incredible, because when you're losing your muscle mass, it means your metabolism is slowing down. Then obviously it means you're going to gain fat if you're eating the same way you have been. And then the decline increases to 1 to 2% per year after the age of 50. So all of a sudden, when you hit mid-50s, you're sitting with very little muscle mass on your body. Your metabolism comes to a solid halt, and you start to gain lots of fat. And this then leads us on to our next test. Okay, so if you guys have got a tape measure, go and grab it. If you want me to give you a minute to do it. And what this shows is that your waist to hip ratio determines your health and a risk factor associated to your health. So if you've got a really big belly, usually means you've got lots of visceral fat in your belly, which is the bad fat. And so the dangerous kind of fat that's linked to all health-related diseases. And this is a really good and very, very quick way to determine whether or not you're healthy or healthy amount of weight in your body. For now, I'm trying to spell words out. So at the bottom, so you've got females on the right, males on the left. And what you do is you divide your waist and your hip measurement together, and it give you a number around about 1. So if you're, say, I'll pick a male example. If you're above 0.9, you're looking to be, in a higher health risk. 0.85 to 0.89 is about average, and if you're less than that, you're in a healthy range. And the same for women on the other side. So get your tape measure out, do it, divide one by the other, and see what number you get.
So to measure the waist, you usually go right opposite the belly button. So you go over the belly button. And to measure your hips, you need to measure at the widest point of your hips.
If you've got any questions, you can check in the chat box. We'll answer them as we go. Also, you can do this later on if you don't want to do it now as well. So we'll get moving.
Okay, so we talked about all this muscles, loss of muscle strength as you get older, but can something be done about it? Now, as we said before, we've done a lot of research, and the answer is absolutely yes. So in the United States, they've actually done a study. They looked at 100 sort of people between the ages of 72 and 98, and they put them through a strengthening program. The strengthening program took place 3 times a week for a period of 10 weeks. And what they actually found that at the end of these 10 weeks, their strength improved by 113%. So basically their strength doubled, okay? So that's huge. And their walking speed increased by 12%. Now, if these people between the ages of 72 and 98 could achieve these kind of results, imagine what you can achieve if you are, let's say, 55 or 60. So it just shows and it proves once again that strengthening and physical exercises absolutely help you to get stronger and fitter as you get older.
And that study was done in America. That's just one of hundreds of studies done, and we've actually witnessed it ourselves with our own clients as our case studies show. So this isn't pie in the sky stuff. It's actually a very real thing. So when you want to maintain muscle strength and flexibility, okay, there are ways to do it, obviously, and there's good and bad ways. But on average, as a personal trainer, I recommend that 2 to 4 times per week we do some kind of cardiovascular exercise like biking, walking, or swimming. And the reason being is that you look after your heart and lungs, and that's really, really important to give you the kind of energy to do everything else. So if you're fitter cardiovascularly, you can do a lot more in life anyway. Then on the flip side of that, you need to be doing a full body resistance routine, and I recommend about twice a week. Now, what a lot of people do as they get older, they'll do the walking stuff, but they don't do any of the resistance stuff. And it's very much an important combination of stuff to do. I'm going to show you that in a second. So when you got these fit people on here, okay, don't be intimidated by it. But these are a selection of 7 exercises which I believe are very, very beneficial for everybody, certainly as you get older, because they promote functional movements, functional exercise. And with functional exercise, you might think CrossFit possibly. Well, functional exercise just means what is functional for you. What is functional for you to be able to go about your life on a day-to-day basis, having a good quality of life. And I'm going to talk to you about these ones now. So the squat for argument's sake, it's such an important exercise. If you sit up, if you do any kind of sitting and standing from a chair to standing position or the couch, that is a squat. It's just a different variation of it. And if you haven't got the leg strength to get yourself up off the couch, then you're going to find yourself, really, really struggling. So if you're sitting on the couch or chair, and you have to lean on something to stand up, you need to readdress that and start using your legs. Focus on your legs getting up off the couch. It's going to help as you get older, prevent you from falling over, be able to walk up those stairs and everything else. Then the top exercise is a back exercise. So many of us sit down a lot. Okay, we get really bad posture, you get rounded shoulders. And this exercise, when you're pulling something behind your body, it gets your back to activate. And what it does is when you get strong back muscles, your posture improves. You become a little bit stronger anyway. You can do a little bit more. And this exercise in particular, not only does it work your back, it also works your core as well, because you're fighting the rotation of the weight to move in as you lift it up. Then the next exercise is a lunge. Providing you haven't got really sore knees, this is another fantastic exercise. It'll work all the muscles in the lower body, so work your sort of glutes, your hamstrings, and your quads. And very, very functional. You can imagine, walking upstairs is a form of a lunge. Walking downstairs is a form of a lunge. And if you can get strong doing these exercises, you're going to be a lot more durable outside in the real world. Then the second, as you go around, you've got a deadlift. So I spoke about that in the case studies. And a deadlift, although it looks quite intimidating, if you pick anything up off the floor, whether it be a cat or a dog, your kids or shopping, you're performing a deadlift. And if you do that deadlift without proper form, you can end up with the lower back. You all know people that's bent over and picked up a handkerchief off the floor and hurt the lower back. It's because they're lifting. The lifting technique is really bad, and there's lots of focus on the joints where it shouldn't be, and they hurt themselves. If you can master this little exercise, you're going to be doing really, really well. Then you've got the standing shoulder press, and obviously depending on your shoulders, whether your range of movement, this is it should be a good exercise, and you can translate this across the real life. If you just lift in, put stuff on the shelf, whatever it is you're doing, it's such a good upper body builder to help you, do day-to-day things. Then you got the chest press in the middle, and again, you need to be able to push from a standing position. Obviously, that's seated. But that could translate into pushing a heavy door. I know people that's hurt their wrists and their elbows and their shoulders by pushing into a big heavy door and doing themselves an injury because they didn't have the strength to cope with that force. And the last exercise then is just a core exercise. Again, you look at your lower back, your core, and the top of your shoulders and everything else. And that's a really, really functional exercise just to help you move around and be more comfortable. So yeah, those are the good exercises.
All right, so this is the third test that we would like to ask you to do. Basically, that measuring tape that you use for your waist and hip measurements, if you can just pull it out again. And I'd like you to put it, if you have a box like that, you can use a box, but you might not be able to use a box. But so what I'd like you to do is, if you could sit on the floor with your legs out in front, exactly how this lady is sitting in the picture, and put the measuring tape just in between your legs, okay? And I want you to get started with your hands basically on top of the measuring tape and your back being completely straight, upright, okay? So I want you to sit on the floor, legs straight, measuring tape in between your legs, back completely upright, okay? So from that point, I want you to reach forward as far as you possibly can. So I want you to get your hands as far forward along the measuring tape as you can. And basically what you want to see is the difference. So how far could you actually reach in centimeters? So if you just do that right now, if you have any questions, just put them into the chat box.
As you can see, if you get really tight hamstrings, like what we're checking for now, you can end up with a lot of lower back pain. I'm sure Alex sees all the time. Tight hamstrings cause lower back pain.
Yeah, apart from other things as well. Like, I mean, lower back pain, it can cause, ankle issues, knee problems. Tight hamstrings can cause a lot of issues around your body. And if you're not stretching, you should be stretching every day. All right. Okay, so basically anything between 12.5 centimeters and 25 centimeters is quite good. It's okay. So basically that's the distance, how far you can reach forward, okay? So anything above 25 centimeters is great. So it means you're probably either naturally flexible or you stretch regularly. Or if you scored less than 12.5 centimeters, then you need to do some work here. You need to do a lot more stretching because you're really stiff. So yeah, as we said, tight hamstrings can cause a lot of problems, including back pain.
All right, so the next one we promised you is why crunches are not going to make you lose weight or give you a flat stomach. And it seems to be amazingly the amount of people that still kind of believe this myth, that come into the gym and they do tons and tons of crunches, tons of planks, and they try and get a flat stomach. And first of all, you can't spot reduce, all right? So if you've got a flabby stomach, you can do 1,000 crunches every single day. It's not going to give you a flat stomach. You know, it might make your core quite strong, but you're not going to spot reduce body fat from your stomach. But what it also does as well is that if you can completely flex your body all the time in lots and lots of volume and quantity, your abdominal muscles kind of get shorter. And when they become shorter and tighter, then it pulls your body into sort of front flexion, and then you get sore back. So although crunches do have a place in your weight training program, and they are a valuable exercise, and they're not going to burn fat from your stomach, and they're certainly not going to strengthen your stomach muscles, you know, in a really, really good way, unless you've got a complementary back exercise and full body exercise. Unfortunately, every single one of us carries fat in different areas. And for some people, you're predispositioned to get fat around your stomach and your hips and everything else. And for me, when I start putting weight on, it comes into my face. I get a big chubby face. And there's nothing I can do about that. It's just the way it is.
Crunch is not going to help.
Crunch is not going to help that, no. Or no matter amount of talking I do either. So yeah, I mean, if you're doing crunches trying to burn your belly fat, just stop. You need to lose body fat from the whole body, and that's with a whole body routine with cardio and eating and everything else. It's a whole approach to it.
Okay, so just a quick note here. So we're going to talk about energy now. So first of all, I wanted to talk about what happens to your energy levels as you get older. So you might have noticed, as you get older, you tend to feel more lethargic. You feel more fatigued, particularly in the afternoon, maybe after a meal. You feel like you just don't feel like doing anything. So is that just your impression of it, or is it for real? Now, it is for real, okay? And this is why. So there's something right in the middle of the screen. What you're seeing there, this capsule-shaped thing in the middle, is called mitochondria, okay? So this is a little tiny organ within our human cells, and its main function is to produce energy, okay? So this is what we call our little power plant, okay? So this is where our energy is produced. Now, what happens in this mitochondria is that the oxygen that we breathe in reacts with food, particularly with glycogen, okay? So this is kind of your sugar, all right? So they react together inside the mitochondria to produce what's known as ATP. Now, ATP molecule is basically like fuel. It's easily, it's the molecule that can be consumed as energy, okay? So you can think of ATP as energy, okay? Now, unfortunately, there's a byproduct to this this reaction, and the byproduct is radicals, okay, free radicals. Now, free radicals, you might have heard about them. They're little nasty things. They do a lot of damage around the body, and because they are produced inside the mitochondria, first of all, they damage the mitochondria, okay? So over the years, as this damage builds up, the mitochondria become less efficient. So the power plant becomes less efficient at producing energy. And that's part of the reason as we get older, we feel more tired more easily, and it takes us longer to recover. So this is the basic process. So here are the three things that you can do to increase your energy levels, particularly if you are over 40. So first of all, you need to drink more water. Now, we're not going to go into too much detail. We actually have another webinar on this topic, but for women, you need to drink 8 glasses of water a day. For men, depending on the size of the person, could be anywhere from 2 to 3 liters a day. Now, physical. The second thing is physical exercise that helps to improve your energy levels. And Gavyn just covered that topic in quite a bit of detail. So we're not going to talk about that. We are going to talk about quality sleep. So sleep is very important to maintain your high energy levels. So these are some of the benefits of sleeping. Now, first of all, it improves your memory. Now, if you are like anything like me, I tend to put things away and then not remember where they are, or just forget about different appointments and all that kind of stuff. So if you find yourself in a similar situation, then maybe you need to sleep more. Okay, so sleeping it helps you remember things. It also, according to a study done in 2010, sleeping actually helps to prolong your life. So it makes you live longer. Okay, so most of us want to live longer, so there you go, sleep more. It also helps to reduce inflammation, and it reduces the risk of heart attacks. It spurs creativity. Now, so if you're into arts, painting, all sorts of decorations, you actually find that sleeping more can actually make you more, gives you inspiration and give you more creativity. It improves your athletic and physical performance. So if you do some kind of exercise, physical exercise, and we certainly hope you do, it actually will help you achieve better results. It helps to maintain healthy weight. And this is actually quite an interesting topic in itself, because most people don't appreciate how important getting enough sleep is for losing weight. The thing is, if you don't have enough sleep during nighttime, when you are awake, your metabolism is much slower. So your body is not burning as many calories, okay? So therefore, you tend to accumulate a lot more fat than if you sleep well, okay? And also sleeping at least 7 hours a night will help you to lower your stress levels. And if you suffer from depression, it will help you that as well. So these are a few things that I'm going to talk about today to improve the quality of your sleep. So number one is try to stick to a regular bedtime schedule. So that what I mostly mean by that is, if you have a daytime job, if you work Monday to Friday, what we tend to do is we go to bed reasonably early during the week, but come Friday and Saturday night, we tend to go quite late, either because we're going out, having a drink with friends, or maybe you watch a late movie. So basically you end up waking up later, and come Sunday night, and you feel like you don't want to go to sleep until later, and then when it's time to wake up on Monday morning, you don't feel like waking up. Okay, so it disturbs your internal body clock, and so it actually ends up you end up feeling more tired on Monday and Tuesday. So another important thing is try to take time to relax before going to bed. Okay, so probably not a good idea to go for a run just before you go to bed. Okay, so lie down, sit down, just read a book if you like reading, do something nice, do something relaxing for at least half an hour before going to bed. Okay, so another thing you can do is you can try to take either magnesium supplements, or you can try and eat enough food that contains magnesium. Okay, so magnesium actually helps to relax and calm your nerves, and also helps to relax your muscles. Okay, so those are the two important things to be able to go to sleep effectively. So the good sources of magnesium in your diet could be spinach, pumpkin seeds, almonds, black beans, and you could resort to taking supplements, but I would recommend you talk to your doctor about that first. You can try to take a bath with Epsom salts. They also contain magnesium. You could also avoid, that's actually really important, avoid using electronic devices before going to bed, because most electronic devices such as laptops, iPads, smartphones, they all emit what's called blue light. Now, blue light is like caffeine to your brain, okay? So it keeps you awake for possibly hours after you use those devices. So definitely for at least 1 hour before going to bed, avoid using laptops, computers, smartphones, all that kind of stuff. So keep away from it. And also avoid having a heavy meal at least 2 hours before going to bed. Okay, so Some people are more tolerant than others, but generally speaking, try not to have a heavy meal at least 2 hours before going to bed. Okay, and like I said before, turn off your TVs and computers at least an hour before you actually go to bed, if you want to have a good chance of falling asleep well. Oh yeah, and having a nap during daytime it can be a good idea if you're feeling tired during the day, but make sure it's no longer than 20 minutes, because if you sleep for more than 20 minutes during daytime, you may have difficulty falling asleep at nighttime. And keep the temperature in your bedroom between 20 and 22 degrees. For most people, this is the right temperature and you feel most relaxed. But if you feel more comfortable at 19 degrees or 23 or 24, then suit yourself. Whatever makes you feel more comfortable, you can do that. I'm having a little bit of a technical issue again. So is it possible to reverse the effects of aging and feel great again? You'll be the judge. So this is Penny. Penny has been in our Growing Younger program for the last 15 months, and she has achieved amazing results, as you can see. She lost 39 kgs according to the latest measurements we did, was it 2 weeks ago? Yeah. And so overall, during this time, her biological age has gone down dramatically from, it's actually gone down by 8 years in the first 12 months in the program. Anything else you wanted to say about Penny?
Oh yeah, I mean Penny's been amazing. She really took on the challenge and did a fantastic job. And when she first came in to see us, she just about managed to walk in the door. She was uncomfortable. She had lots of bad joints and everything else. And in fast forward a year, she's done some amazing things. She's lost an incredible amount of body weight. She's fitter, stronger. And ultimately she's happier as well. I mean, at the end of the day, she didn't just want to lose some weight. She wanted all the feelings that came with weight loss and being younger. And she's a complete different person right now. To the point she's actually just completed a personal training course herself. Obviously, to help and inspire other people that were once in her situation. So she's done it amazingly well in the last year. And 8 years younger, I guess, in her body, which is pretty incredible.
Cool. So this is the Penny's body weights in the, I think it was the first few months of her training when she joined. So as you can see, the weight actually went up initially for a brief period of time. And that's because when the person starts to exercise, they actually start to grow muscle. And the muscle is actually heavier than fat tissue. So you may see a short blip, like a short increase in weight, but you shouldn't be worrying about it because that's normal. And then so after the initial increase, she started to lose weight quite consistently and dramatically. So you can see that line going down and down, and she's not done yet. She still continues to lose weight. Every time we take a measurement, she's lost a couple of kg, isn't it? So
amazing.
Yeah, but obviously you have to be ready to put some effort into it. It's not like there's no magic stick here. It's just, we tell you what to do, but you actually have to do it. As long as you stick to what we advise, you will get results. Now, here's another person that participated in our program. His name is Indy. Now, his situation was quite different. He wasn't significantly overweight when he started. However, his main problems were he wanted to get more muscle strength, I think especially in his upper body. And also he had quite a few injuries that he just couldn't, it didn't seem like he was able to recover from those injuries. So he just wanted to get more functional and stronger. So you can see how he did manage to lose about 3 kg, which is probably all he needed to lose. And his biological age has gone down by 5.5 years. And yeah, his muscle strength actually improved quite significantly as well. And fat percentage decreased by 2%. What he's actually, when we talked about his progress last time, what he told us was actually quite amazing, because when he started the program, he really couldn't do a lot of gardening or any kind of physical work. Now, since he started the program, he was actually able to complete his little, well, not little, it's quite actually big, his landscaping project in the backyard. Well, yeah, we've seen the pictures of it. It looks amazing. And he said that if it wasn't for the fact that he participated in this program, he would never be able to achieve it. So there's his statement there in front of you. So it's not just because your participation in the program is not just advisable when if you're overweight. If you're just wanting to get more energy, maybe just get stronger, get healthier, that's the right thing to do. And also his heart rate decreased by 8 beats per minute, which means that he's actually gotten fitter.
Yeah, no, yeah, and that's covered everything off. I mean, all those things here, are really amazing in itself, and he's become a very much younger version of himself, essentially. Taking on massive tasks where he wouldn't have done before because he wasn't fit or strong enough to do it. So yeah, it's just pretty impressive. Yeah.
All right, so we've given you quite a bit of information today, and hopefully you've taken away a few key important points, and so you can actually help improve your health and your fitness. But if you wanted to participate in the free discovery session that we're running, essentially to find out your biological age, and also if you are interested in potentially if you're interested in participating in the program, in our Growing Younger program, during this test we'll figure out if you are actually suitable for the program. So we don't take everyone. We have to have a chat to you and see if we're on the same page, and if we can actually help you. And if we can, then we'll offer you to join, and it's no obligation, so you're free to either say yes or no at that stage. But if you want to do this free assessment, which takes about 45 minutes of your time, it's completely, there are no painful procedures. It's quite easy and simple to do. It takes about 45 minutes of your time, and we usually do it in our Howick branch. So if you want to sign up, you can either go to this landing page, bodyfitphysio.co.nz/discover youth, or you can email us at alex@bodyfitphysio.com, or alternatively, if you prefer, you can call our 24-hour automated phone line, 0800 11 0028. So you can just leave a message on that phone number, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. So I'm just going to put that our web page into the chat box, so you can click on that link in your chat box, and you can go to that sign up page straight away. There we go. You should be able to get it now. So if you just go to your chat box, and you'll see the link there, so you just click on it and just sign up on that page there. All right. Now, we'd love to hear some comments from you if you what you enjoyed about this webinar and how you think we can improve it. Again, just put your comments in the chat box.
Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah, I mean, this discovery session is really valuable for anybody that is wanting to make a change in their life. And in the end of the day, like I said, you don't have to set up any program, but for you, you'll know exactly where you are in terms of your health. And now after this webinar, you know some strategies to put in place to bring your age down a little bit. So definitely we'll come along, just to get it done.
Great. Okay. Well, might see you on the next webinar. Have a good night.
See you guys.